Absolutely, and I tell people there isn't a campaign that's run in the 21st century that doesn't focus on crime, that doesn't focus on economic development. Nobody campaigns and says, I'm going to increase crime and reduce jobs. That's just not possible in the 21st century. But we have to get serious about our economic development priorities. I'd like to see us hire an independent team of professional certified economic developers. I'd like to see us have more synergy within our economic development entities. We have a lot of entities that are dedicated and stood up for the purpose of economic development, such as our chamber, such as NLEP, such as Biomedical Research Foundation, such as the Coordinating Development Council. So we have a lot of economic development arms that are moving. I would like to make sure that we're all on one succinct page and that we're all going out selling one message, and that is Shreveport is the capital of the architects. We have good infrastructure. We have a great quality of life. We will work at eventually to get our crime rate down or at a level where the perception is not driving the conversation. We have to have incentives that are tied to job performance. A lot of companies come to town when they look for their incentives. We have to be willing to stand up and ask the question, how is this going to create net job growth? Because what we often see is we're cannibalizing within our own economy. A company comes in, they'll create the jobs, but what will happen is somebody will come from another job, and it has a domino effect within the company, within the economy to a certain extent. But I want to make sure that we tie any incentives to actual sustainable job creation. I would like to see us work with our local companies if they need infrastructure improvements. If they meet their job metrics, we'll work with them on those infrastructure improvements. We have an industrial development board that has the ability to do pilots and TIFs. I don't think we have utilized that program enough, not only for companies coming in, but to help retain and grow and expand existing companies. That industrial development board that we have should be doing road shows throughout the city, partnering with the Chamber of Commerce, going to talk to these manufacturers that we have here, and how can we help them export their resources out to the rest of the world so that we can bring wealth and capital back to our city. And so there's a myriad of ideas that I have centered around economic development, but it starts with getting a robust team of economic development professionals and getting everybody on one page.
I would say this as far as those, the downtown area and outlying areas, if you're going to grow a city, and if you're actually going to populate these neighborhoods, there is no city growing in America today that doesn't have a very robust downtown. So I think it's very important to start with the nucleus, and then you can build out from there. And what we've seen with trends is millennials will come, because millennials and Gen Yers, they want to work downtown, they want to play downtown, they want to grocery shop downtown. So what we see is millennials will flock to a downtown area where they can do that, but then once they start having kids and need to get them into certain schools and live in certain neighborhoods, then they move out of downtown. So first, we have to grow our city, and we have to attract people to our city, and that'll actually push people into the neighborhoods outside of downtown. I think, it's not even a longer term thing that's going to happen immediately. The way my specific ideas about economic development are twofold. One is focusing on, again, attracting things from outside, but also the second part is building things from within. On attracting businesses and capital dollars in from outside, we have to make sure we have an infrastructure that's prepared to accept those businesses and allow them to operate efficiently, etc. I went and spoke to City Council last year in February to talk to them about high-speed internet throughout the city. Chattanooga, Tennessee, for instance, cut their unemployment rate in half and raised their average annual income by like $20,000 within 10 years because of the efficiencies and the business their high-speed internet attracted. So if we were to do that, we would very much stage ourselves to receive the bigger corporations. Baton Rouge just got Amazon. Baton Rouge made sure that they had sites that were set up, again, that were modern. So we need to do that in order to really attract outside jobs like we need to. In addition to that, we need to work with our locally owned businesses, work with the big economic sectors like healthcare industry, the oil and gas industry, to figure out how exactly we can grow those industries and grow our own corporations. I'm proposing that by saying that we should have an economic development department. We should do a nationwide search. We should be open to a nationwide search for an economic development director, an experienced economic development director, and that department can think about these things consistently. Right now, whenever you hear the current administration discuss economic development, they refer to the MPC. Well, that's reactive. I'm like losing the word for it. That's reactionary instead of being proactive. And we need to be proactive in attracting businesses here. So that's the kind of big thing for me. Again, attracting companies and capital from outside, working on what we have here, and doing it with a team set up to continually think about these things and continually facilitate growth in our city rather than just being reactionary.
Yeah, thanks.
Good question. What I would do, I've already been in contact with people about wanting to invest in Shreveport. They have issues that they would like to look at, and they've talked about bringing in private money. Money's always a big factor when you're talking about economic development. But what we need to do is get the citizens or get more business opportunities, entrepreneurs here within the city of Shreveport. Because in order for the city to be productive, we need to talk about bringing business in as opposed to just talking about people having jobs. Because we need to be able to sustain the community. We need to be able to build the tax base, and that's, I think, is something that would help our case.
Right now, we have fair share program. I want to address that first. I think our fair share program is broken. I think what we do is, we look at minority-owned businesses, and regardless if it's a man and his wife has owned the business, or if it's a black-owned business, Hispanic, owned business, whatever it may be, I think what we need to do is take it to our communities, and we need to teach them what they need to do and how they need to do, because I think you've got a group of people who control all of that fair share money. And although they are, the ones that we're trying to help, you've got a multi-million-dollar and very wealthy individual over here taking all the money because he can afford all the general liability, the workers' comp, and all the insurances required for each project. So what I want to do is I want to take and I want to divide things up. Instead of having mowing common ground for the entire city, I want to break it up into areas. And that way, a smaller business person can afford the insurance, can afford everything else that they need to do. So I wanted to hit on that fair share program first and exactly how I want to do that. The other thing is I kind of told you earlier, what I really want to do is clean the city up before we can go in. Not to say that we need to go out immediately, simply because we've got 49 that's going to connect us north-south. We've already got 20. We're close to just about anything and everything that we need in the country right now. So we should be a transportation hub, which I think that we can sell. We can get these manufacturers back into Shreveport. What I really want to do too, and even before we do that, each and every company that we have here today, they have goods, they have products, they have things that they have to purchase in order to do business. You take General Motors. When General Motors was here, they had so many other small businesses that fed them. And when GM went out of business or moved, they went out of business. So, or they moved also. So we lost all of that revenue, not just GM revenue. I want to go in and I want to talk to each and every business that we have and ask them, where do you get this from? We get that from East Texas. Well, what if I could show you somebody here locally you could get that from at a competitive price? Well, sure, we would do that. We need to make sure that we go in and we are talking to all of these people, because they are people who can help our economy, and the more we help our economy, it's going to come and fade right back up to them.
Well, let's just talk about economic growth throughout the city, because that's almost, we have a good chunk of the city, actually where our city began many years ago. Economic development, again, we are the hub of the wheel. And I believe that you'd be hard pressed to find a city that would not love to be in a position that we are, within 2.5, 3 hour drive here. We have 2 major freeway systems. We have a river, we have a port. We have so many things that as the outsider looking in, it's like, why aren't you more successful than you are? You know, and there has to be a key fundamental there. There has to be a pivot point to say, why aren't we? If you know, I'm going to digress a little bit. In 1993, 1994, I was going back and reading articles, and you know, the things that were written back then are the same things that we're discussing now. And so the question is that if you keep doing what you've always done, you keep getting what you've always got. And so as far as economic development, I think that obviously jobs is a big deal. Now, jobs based on an hourly, the minimum wage is not going to flip our economy around, but supporting the businesses that are currently here will, and actually eliminating red tape for those entrepreneurs that want to get into business, and start instead of making it an obstacle course for them to do their paperwork, to get their permits. I'd like to restore common sense to be common practice, and that, you know, good old customer service goes a long way. You know, and if I can streamline the opportunity for you as an entrepreneur to get that paperwork filled out, assign someone that actually is going to be your liaison, you know, and your mentor along that way to ensure that you get it expeditiously completed, then that's what we're going to do. It's kind of like a Disney aspect, you know. We have forgotten who our clients are, and that's our local businesses. That's our entrepreneurs. And that's where we start growing our economy, by supporting the people that are already here, that are already embedded. Everybody wants to go out and look for big box stores, you know, the AT&Ts, the GEs, and so forth and so on. You know, if we land a big box store, that's great. But let's take care of the people that really are in the trenches right now, supporting the economy. You know, small businesses are the heart of the city. They're supporting the economy. So helping them grow is going to help our economy grow. You know, and also, you know, I want to associate business and entrepreneurs that are very successful in our city already, and assign them, and they've already willing to volunteer, you assign them to every city council member. Every city council member will have a liaison, a go-to person that says, you know, if it's not in the budget, let me network with the people that I know, and let's see if we can get that project together. Let's see if we can stimulate the economy instead of going to the taxpayers, you know, for every little thing. It's all about synergy. It's networking again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. We've begun a very aggressive plan of trying to grow businesses, small businesses, trying to expand businesses. In the last year and a half, we've worked with businesses, trying to get incentives, and also maybe putting in some of our capital money, where we have been able to expand about 30 different businesses, which came with that jobs. We've also, through our water and sewer work, we've spent $180 million in the past 3 years on water and sewer projects. So a lot of our people that didn't have work now have work. In fact, on an average, our unemployment rate for this region was like about 7.9% unemployment rate. Now it's down 4.7, which means that we've done something, or 4.9. Let me correct myself. I think it's about 4.9 on an average. So we've made significant gains there. With our Fair Share program, we are helping to build capacity by utilizing the State Department. The Louisiana Economic Department is working with us on capacity building with a lot of our small businesses and entrepreneurs. And in fact, we are going to be hosting a small business summit. We already have more than 350 businesses signed up to come in to access information on how to grow their businesses. So we're doing stuff like that. We are now hosting our own job fairs. We had one last month where we had 19 different agencies to come together with a lot of jobs for people, those that are unemployed. We're also, just across our city and across our region, we've also put in, and we have a center where we've been able to get grant dollars with our Workforce Commission Investment Program. We have a facility that's called the Caddo Business and Career Solutions Center, where we invite people. We've had about 20,000 people to go through there who needed either veteran services, job referrals, job placement, training. We even do counseling to help people be able to know how to connect their skills with business and industry. And certainly we're bringing in other businesses. So we've touched bases with about 70 businesses and entrepreneurs, And from those, over the past year, we've actually brought in like businesses that hired 500 people at one time. We're expanding another 500 with a business Teleperformance is going to be hiring another 500. So we are working on the unemployment rate throughout the city.